Well, welcome to Tuesday Motivation and Conversation. A little bit of a different environment tonight. I hope you've had an amazing Tuesday and all is well. I want to definitely not waste any time tonight and jump right into this because I want to make sure that I cover my points tonight. And so I'll be checking periodically to see if there are any questions and or comments in the chat. And if in fact you do have um, any comments or questions as it relates to what I'm sharing tonight, definitely feel free to put those comments in the chat, and I'll be checking periodically and pausing to see um, what what you have to share. And I think that, one of the things, I am hard pressed on clarity. And I think it is one of the things that helps us to be definitely on a trajectory of getting to a place of having a good decision making, of being in a place where we can, be really focused and clear about what we're doing in our professional lives as well as what we're doing in our personal lives. And so I think it's so important that we find that place of clarity. And what I've come to find out is that so many people are not there. And in the plight of what we are dealing with and going through and handling in our society today, it is one of those things that I think is so important. And if you are not there, um, there is a framework to get you there. And so, for those of you who are in the DFW Metroplex, and even if you're not, you have time to get a ticket, come in town, be a part of this 2 day workshop called Emerge, where I am going to be going through that framework step by step on the process to help you to get to clarity. And this is one framework, and there are other schools of thoughts out there, but this is one proven that helped me to get to a place of clarity. And so it starts with the self work. And so we have to do the work in order to get to that place of clarity. So I want to talk through some things tonight, and I definitely invite you into the conversation. And I want to um, not waste any time tonight because I don't want to be long, but I want to be thorough and I want to be impactful, because I do want to make sure that I cover some points that are definitely pertinent for um, clarity calms the mind. Clarity calms the mind. And so, there there's so many things that go on in a given day. We are hard pressed every day with underlying stress that we don't even know that we're experiencing because we have so many things that are happening in our mind. And so, and I don't say that from a perspective of observation. I say that from a perspective of participation because there's a lot going on in my mind every day. And so I am challenged with utilizing my framework for clarity in order to maintain a calm mind and a place of disposition so that I can make good decisions. And I'm going to just talk about some things that this definitely impacts. And I want to hear again, and even if you're watching the replay and you're not live with me tonight, uh, feel free to leave a comment, and I'm definitely going to be I'll be alerted when you make those comments and or questions, and I will answer those questions, or I'll come back in next week and I'll kind of elaborate on them a little bit more. Um, but I want to get into this conversation tonight. So there are a few things that I just kind of want to break down, and that is the practical concept of clarity in calming the mind. One of the things that it does is it reduces mental clutter and cognitive load. And I'm telling you, with there being so much happening from um, personal perspective, professional perspective. There's so many things happening corporately. There's so many things happening for those of us who are entrepreneurs, so many things to balance, so many shifts and changes. And so this, the enemy only has, three tools. This is all he got in his toolkit: kill, steal, and destroy. And so there is this ongoing um, framework that is being, positioned and put in the atmosphere, and and that is to destroy our thinking, to destroy our cognitive abilities, to get us so wrapped up and so caught up in that we are not clear. And so this causes this mental clutter and this cognitive load. It causes the feelings of overwhelm and anxiety. So if you are a person who feels like from day to day you have these spurts of time where you're anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, and it doesn't take a whole lot for you to feel like, okay, I need to step back. I need to take a moment. I need to, I need to do something because this is too much. Too much is happening. Too much is on my mind. Too much is on my brain. And I'm not clear, or I'm not thinking clear, or I'm not in a place to make a decision on this particular thing right now, or that particular thing. And that's concerning. And I'm going to tell you why it's concerning, because, as entrepreneurs, you have to make decisions every day throughout the day. As management and leadership in corporate and all the different levels of leadership that are executed every day, you have to make decisions. And in making those decisions, you need to make those decisions with a clear mind. And you need to make them from a point of clarity. There needs to be understanding. There needs to be, communication that takes place. You need to be confident about the decision that you're making, the decision you're making, who you're making the decision about, what you're making the decision about, how much money you're making the decision about. So there are a lot of different things that go into the decisions that we make on a daily basis. So in the most practical sense, clarity is about simplifying and organizing your internal world. I've been talking to my coaching and mentoring group about our position versus our posture. And our posture is so much about our internal workings of our world, who we are internally, and the fact that that doesn't change. And we can take that piece of who we are wherever, but we want to simplify it. We want to organize it. We want to understand it, and it needs to be clear. And when we get to that place, that helps us to get to these next levels in our lives, that helps us to be very, very, very conscious and self-aware of what we're doing, good self-direction, good self-leadership. And so it's important that we take a moment and we stop and we think about, am I really clear about it? How much mental clutter do I have? And I know that we have devices, we have iPads and we have iPhones and we have, note devices, and we have all kinds of things. We have audio devices that we can talk into. We have all different types of ways to take notes, document things, record things, and that's awesome. I use them as well. But I'll tell you, when it comes to decluttering the mind and making sure that from a cognitive perspective, that our cognition is balanced and healthy, I write, because that gets it out of my mind. And I don't have to try to scramble things around to figure out what to do here. I write it down. So it's on paper. And if I don't have to, at that point, I don't have to remember, because it's out of my head. I don't have to determine which side of my brain it needs to go on. And I'm trying to, move this around. It's just like a closet. When a closet is in disarray, it's difficult to find things. Certain shoes are in the wrong box, and one box may say red shoe, it's a black shoe in there, because everything is cluttered. You can't find things. But when it's organized and you have shirts, you have pants, you have jackets, you have dresses, you have, you have coats, skirts, for women. So everything has its place. And so it's easier to go in with clarity and look at what you would like to put on a particular day. Or even if you have it to change 2 or 3 times a day, you can easily go in there and you can coordinate, which is what I like to do. I like to be able to walk into my closet and look at whatever section of the closet and coordinate what I want to wear, because it's where it's supposed to be. And so if I'm looking at blouses and I'm looking at pants, or I'm looking at skirts, I can look at both sides and I can determine, oh, these two, I want to put these two together. That type of order, that type of simplicity. Was the same thing with our mind. When we have things in its proper place and we take the time to organize those thoughts and those feelings and all of those things, it helps us to really lay a map for our internal being and our internal world. Then the next thing is that when we have a clear understanding of our goals, our priorities, and our values, that reduces the number of choices that we have to make and the amount of energy that we have to spend in indecision. I'm going to say it again. When we have a clear understanding of our goals, our priorities, and our values, it reduces the number of choices that we have to make and the amount of mental energy that we spend on indecision. And I'm telling you, in a given day, I'm telling you to just think about it. Just think about it. There are so many days that, I haven't taken the opportunity to really just think through before I started going. I just started going. And most of the times that's because I got off of my schedule or something occurred. And so I just started going. So then I haven't taken the time to really think through the direction I'm going to be going, that particular day. And then I'm off schedule because now I may have gone a route that could have, that's taken me more time, but I could have saved some time had I assess the goal for the day. What's the priority? And, what is it that I need to really focus on that I value today? What is important for me to get done? It helps me when I take the time to set those things in place. Then I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get to from A to B and through the course of the day. And then I can just make a circle and it's done. And when I get home, it's time to just shut it down. Now, the next thing is this whole process, the three things that I've kind of talked about, our mental clutter, our cognitive load, our simplifying, things and organizing things in our internal world, that's important. And then the goals, priorities, and values, making sure that we have clear understanding of them so that we can reduce the amount of time that we spend in indecision. This whole process is like decluttering, as I said, a closet or a messy room. Once everything has its place, it becomes easier to find what you need and feel more at peace. And it's the same way when we have our personal life in order and there is clarity, and when we have things professionally with clarity. Now, that doesn't mean that everything is going to be the way you want it to be holistically 100, but it means that you can function better. Even if things are not to your liking and you're not at the place you want to be, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the position of being able to function and flow. And that is the point of having clarity that calms the mind. And so there's so many different benefits of having this clarity, and especially for our mental state and health wise. Clarity helps to calm our mind in a lot of different ways. Number one, and I'm just going to hit on a few because there are a lot of them. But number one, it reduces decision fatigue, as I was alluding to earlier. When we have a clear sense of intention, what's our intention? We're not constantly asking ourselves, well, what should I do here? And what should I do there? So we just kind of, we don't have to constantly be asking those questions throughout the day. We've already established what we're going to be doing for the day. And if something ad hoc comes up, meaning it wasn't planned, it wasn't on the schedule, but something comes up, then we can clearly, have this built-in filter that helps us to say yes to what matters and no to everything else. Because if it doesn't matter, you don't need to contemplate what you need to say or what you need to do. The answer is no. And so I think so oftentimes that's a hard thing for us to do. Just say no and move on. It's not a part of your agenda for the day. It's not something that matters. It's not important. It's not urgent. So it's no. And we move it on. Right. So this reduces that mental exhaustion, that anxiety that comes from making countless small decisions throughout the day. You have determined this is what the day is going to be like. This is what's happening. It's just like when you get phone calls. Spend a lot of times with people. Oh, I don't have that. Doesn't even matter to me. Number one, I don't know who you are. Why are you calling me? I didn't ask for it. You trying to sell me something I clearly do not need right now. So there's no need for us to have a conversation. Thank you. I appreciate it. I am not interested. Goodbye. We got to go back and forth. I don't have to sit and listen to you go on, especially if I'm not able to understand what you're saying. So we move it along. It's a no. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Number two, it minimizes overthinking. And so many of us deal with the overthinking piece. And so if that's you, really think about how much time you spend going back and forth, vacillating back and forth. Should I do it? Should I? Then you call 12 people, you call your mama, you call your sister, then you call your friend. And then they all say something different and you totally confused all over again. So the overthinking starts all over. And guess what? It's 1 o'clock now. And whatever you need to do is happening at 3. Well, babe girl, sir, you have to figure this thing out. But clarity provides a direct path forward. So when problems arise, instead of spiraling to these series of what ifs, and you can focus on the next logical step. What makes sense to do? If you're being, and for instance, if somebody calls me and they're asking me about being a part of something the same day, right? And it's 2 hours across town, and I know I have 3 clients and they're spaced out. Well, that's a no. I know what my schedule is. I know where I live. I know the distance to the location that you're asking me about. You should have called me 2 weeks ago or a month ago or whatever the case may be. So there's no need. Take the logical perspective. Does this work for me? Does it work for my schedule? And if the answer is no, the answer is no, and it's okay. So this shift from worry to problem solving, it helps quiet the anxious voice in our head. And so many of us have these anxious voices because we've allowed these anxious voices to grow from whispers to crescendoing into loud symphonies. And we want to take it back down to where we are in control. We have self-discipline, right? So that's the thing we want to do is we want to minimize the overthinking. Here again, shift from worry into problem solving, and that helps to quiet that anxious voice in your head. Try it. I promise you, it will work. Number 3, I got good time. Okay. So I'm going to make it through my content tonight. Builds confidence. That's the third thing. Clarity helps to calm our minds by building confidence. So when you know your purpose and, you have a plan, that instills a sense of confidence and self-control. I say this all the time. When you get clear, when you have clarity, y'all already know, you should be able to say it with me. You gain confidence. And when you have confidence, you communicate better. When you communicate better, you can collaborate better, meaning you can talk to anybody, you can establish, anything you want to when you are clear. That's important. And so we have to work on that so that we can be in a position where we can be clear and we can make decisions and we don't have to go back and forth, doing this, that, and the third and asking these questions and what ifs and having this anxiousness and all this kind of thing. But we can move with total clarity and we can have a position whereas we have reduced all of this anxiety and we have a sense of confidence and self-control. And then this internal insurance, it acts what? As a buffer against external stress and doubt. So people can't stress you out when you're clear about who you are and what you're doing. So, and sometimes, we're stressed by default because we allowed it. So we have to think about that too. Don't allow things to stress you out that have nothing to do with what your agenda is, or you going back and doubting yourself. All of that comes up when you're not clear. And so we want to get to that place where we are making ourselves or helping ourselves to feel more grounded and more secure about who we are and who we are and why we are. So who we are and what it is we're supposed to be doing. So I want to talk about a few benefits of a calm mind, and then I'm going to be done for the night. A calm mind is not a passive state. That is not what we're talking about. A calm mind, it's an active one that leads to several significant benefits, right? Number 1, when we have a calm mind, it improves our focus and our productivity. I've kind of done a summation of that over the course of my sharing tonight. So with less mental clutter, we talked about earlier, we can concentrate more effectively to the task at hand. What is in front of us? What is it that we need to focus on? This is the thing we need to focus on. This leads to higher quality work and greater productivity because our energy isn't being pulled in multiple directions. When you start your day, you know what it is that you have to do. So if you're in corporate, you know what each day requires, or if you have clients that you're having to see, you know what's on your calendar, how many meetings you have. You align yourself the day before. You prepare yourself so when you get into the office or when you start working your home office or whatever the situation is, you're ready to handle your day. You're ready for whatever may come up. You anticipate questions. You anticipate how you can resolve things, what your answers need to be. You pull on your experience and your wisdom, and you make your day flow smoothly, right? So it improved when you clear, it just improves your focus and your productivity. So at the end of the day, you've been productive, your meetings have been productive. Even if there was some disagreement, it was a productive meeting because you were able to stay on task. And sometimes we just make things harder than they need to be because we're not clear. And so I'm gonna tell you something: when you're in spaces and meetings with people, which I'm often in sessions and meetings with people when they're not clear. And so, as the person with some clarity, you have to help to steer the conversation because oftentimes conversations will go on and on and on, and it'll appear that there's no clarity or there's no real focus about the meeting when there actually is. So we have to take control of those conversations and they'll say, well, no, we talked about 1, 2, and 3, and the decision on 1, 2, and 3 was XYZ. So you bring that to the center and the focus and let people say yay or nay. But the back and forth, and I'm telling you, if you pay attention, it is something that we often do without realizing. And so we get ourselves caught up in these conversations, and then we get to a point that there's less productivity and we're less focused. So think about that, as you prepare your day for tomorrow or sometime this week, and try this method and see if it does work for you. Number 2, enhanced emotional regulation. Enhanced emotional regulation. When we have clarity and our mind is calm, when our mind is calm, you are better equipped to respond to difficult situations with grace and composure rather than reacting impulsively. And I'm telling you, think about it. It is so important because things can happen. You could have an accident, anything can occur. Where if you have an accident, that emotions get high, you know, that's an event that was not planned, scheduled, is impromptu. It gets the nervous system all out of whack. But if you can maintain a sense of calm and grace and composure, you can respond and answer the questions that needs to be responded to. You can do that with a clear mind and understanding. This leads to healthier relationships and less emotional turmoil, regardless whether that is a professional relationship, whether that's a personal relationship, or whether that's just an intimate relationship. It helps us to have healthier means of communication when we have emotional regulation. When we can regulate those emotions, in other words, emotional intelligence can be at play, it makes the world of difference. And so, how we get to managing those emotions is all a part of the self work. So, that's why you want to make sure that you're in the room for this upcoming workshop, because I'm telling you, it's going to turn a corner for you and it's going to really make a difference in how you handle a lot of things. And then, lastly, the benefit of a calm mind is better physical health. And I have found this to be so very true in just recent months. I have gone through a medical battle, and one of the things that has been the catalyst for the resolve has been reducing the stress and reduce. And see, the thing about it is, a lot of times we think we don't have stress because it's not loud. A lot of times the stress is quiet. So we have to watch it, especially as women. The constant stress from a cluttered mind can lead to physical ailments. Y'all know this to be true. So I ain't telling you nothing you don't know. So a calm mind reduces the production of stress. And so we hear this all the time: hormones like cortisol, which can lead to, which can lower our blood pressure. It can improve our sleep and boost our immune system. So I'm going to say it again. The constant stress from a cluttered mind can lead to physical ailments. A calm mind, however, reduces the production of stress hormones like cortisol. So you all know for women, we talk about and maybe I'm going to have a nurse on that can talk to us more about these hormones because I think this will be perfect. I hope she can be with us next week. But to help us understand how the stress when we're releasing these hormones, this high level of hormones and cortisol, this is what the midsection, the weight gain, all of this, especially as women. When we can reduce that, though, it reduces. When we can reduce the stress, then we can that calm mind will help us to reduce the production of these cortisol hormones, and it can help to lower blood pressure, improve our sleeping, and boost our immune system. So these are the things that you want to focus on because if your mind is calm, think about it. That's a huge health benefit. When you can reduce the production of cortisol, you can reduce your blood pressure, you can lower it, you can improve your sleep, and you can boost your immune system. That's huge. So we really need to, and I think I'm going to do a part two with this and see if I can't have a guest on with me next week to go a little bit further from a medical perspective, because I think it is so important. And one of the things there's another opportunity for you later in October, and that's the Visionary Voices. And one of the things that was so key about that particular event was a mindset. The mindset, I'm telling you, being able to calm the mind and get our minds to calm down and get to a place where we are relaxing. And number two, breathing appropriately will change the world for us from a mental and a physical perspective. So think about these things that I've kind of talked about tonight and go back and listen to it. Go back and listen to it. And if it helped you, share it with somebody else. Because I think it's important, especially with all of the things that we are, and a lot of times we don't think we're internalizing a lot of stuff, but you're hearing it, you're seeing it, you're on most social media, so forth and so on. You're internalizing it and you're trying to figure things out, and you're concerned about your own plight and the things that you need to do in your world. Now, granted, my first thing is going to be to pray, talk to God, because He got the answers. That's number one. But number two, we can help ourselves by making sure we're clear and calm in our own minds. So I talked about the fact that the whole concept of clarity in calming our mind is mental clutter and cognitive load. And reducing these feelings of overwhelm and anxiety. Then number two, simplifying and organizing our internal worlds. This is the practical sense of the clarity and how it calms the mind. Then next, I talked about when we have clarity and understanding of our goals and our priorities and our values, it helps us to reduce the number of choices and decisions we have to make in a day. So that within itself helps us to reduce a lot of unnecessary stress. Then we talked about some other ways that it helps to calm the mind and having clarity. That's number one, reducing decision fatigue. Number two, minimizing overthinking and shifting from worrying to problem solving, and helping yourself to quiet the anxiousness or that anxious voice in your head. And then number three, building confidence, because I'm telling you, when you're confident, when you're clear, a lot of these things you don't even deal with because this is where I am. I'm clear on it. And, then we talked about the benefits of a calm mind being number one, improve focus and productivity. Number two, enhance emotional regulation. And then number three, better physical health. And we talked about the fact that we can reduce the production of stress, hormones like cortisol. We can lower blood pressure. We can improve sleep, and we can boost the immune system. That's some good stuff for how clarity can calm the mind. But listen, that's what I have for tonight. I hope that this has been beneficial for you. And as I said, if it was good to you, it blessed you, something about it helped you to really think a little bit deeper than you have about, am I clear? What are my intentions on being clear? And how can this help me? Are you dealing with any of those physical ailments? Well, if you are, I'm telling you, you definitely want to tap in and make sure that you take the opportunities to get clear. Well, we're going to keep it going right here on Tuesday Motivation and Conversation. If this blessed you, share it with somebody. And listen, we'll be back next week, same time, same location. And hopefully, I'll have a guest with me and we're going to go deeper